Let's bring in Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for joining us on the bottom line. Want to get your take. You served in the military, obviously. What's your take on Speaker Johnson's position, saying, listen, we are not going to fund Ukraine unless we have transparency in how this money is spent? But not only that, we're going to make sure there's policy changes to the southern border, Joe, before we give any money to Ukraine. Are you on board for that strategy?
Yeah, look, this is the strategy we asked him to have. I've actually delivered him an entire negotiation strategy to make that happen. I've been asking him time and time again, you have to send a team of negotiators from the House to the White House to actually make this deal. Why do I say that? Because we've been asking senators to make this deal. Well, Schumer has no incentive to make this deal. You know why? Because Schumer's getting reelected. You know who might not get reelected? Joe Biden. Joe Biden has an incentive to make this deal. This is a pretty historic moment. You know, when you read all the tea leaves here, why did Biden couple these things together in the first place? Why did you see that story come out today that they're willing to do more about expelling migrants? They want to make a deal. They want us to save them. They want to blame us for being hardline on the border. This is the perfect opportunity. And yet you have some of our, of course, hardline members saying, don't couple them because I will never support Ukraine. Well, that's not very logical here, okay? There's a lot of bad arguments against Ukraine aid, but there's one really, really good question that American people do ask all the time, which is why can we support their border and not our border? That's a good question, and that's all we're asking here. There's a real moment right now to actually make that deal. By the way, this has been our position since Speaker McCarthy days. This was always the plan. And Speaker Johnson has a historic opportunity right now, but it has to be the House negotiating with the White House.
Another question Americans are asking, why is the United States paying for both sides of this war? Zelenskyy is asking for more money. What $75 billion has already gone to Ukraine. But Russia made $11.3 billion in net oil revenue in October alone. That is more than any month before the Ukraine war. It managed to sell 99% of its oil exports above the sanctioned $60 a barrel price cap. There are no ship interdictions. It is openly violating the sanctions and bringing in north of $11 billion a month. And no one in the West does jack all about it, Congressman.
Yeah, so a couple of things. It's not accurate to say we're paying for both sides of the war. It is accurate to say that we could strengthen the sanctions. That is totally accurate to say. The reason it doesn't happen is because it's not us who needs that oil. It's European partners. So they would strangle themselves from energy. That's the problem that we run into. There's another thing to bring up here. You can pay for all of the humanitarian aid going to Ukraine by simply taking the seized assets from Russian oligarchs. You know, there's a bill in the Foreign Affairs Committee to do just that. When we say $60 billion to Ukraine, also, there's no way $60 billion is going to Ukraine. It's actually a fraction of that actually goes to Ukraine. Most of that goes to our own Department of Defense. People should understand that as well. There's a lot better ways to do this, whether it's, you know, there should be more transparency, there should be more explaining. The president should, God forbid, do a press conference where he talks about Ukraine and Russia and why it's important to stop Russia and stop bigger countries from invading smaller countries all over the world. He's never led on this, and so now he's in the situation he's in where it's unpopular with voters. It is. Look, I've always supported Ukraine aid. Like I said, it makes sense to beat Russia, but we will not do it until we change border policy. That's a reasonable argument to make.
Yeah, but also just to be clear, we are giving money to our defense industry, and those weapons they make are going to Ukraine, but we're still paying for it. We're still funding it. It's American tax dollars going to help Ukraine.
The way it works is we're giving them a lot. We're giving them our old stuff, and then we replenish it with our new stuff. So it's not a bad deal for our industries and for our defense system, but that is what happens.
Let's drive back into the border. We talked about that quite a bit. Let's take a closer look at what's exactly happening there. Over the weekend, Border Patrol apprehended more than 20,000 migrants, including multiple sex offenders and gang members. We just learned on average 5,000 illegal immigrants are being released into the country every single day. That's on top of the more than 670,000 known gotaways who were able to evade border agents last year alone. Just how utterly insane and ass backwards has Biden's chronic mismanagement of the border become? The New York Times succinctly made sense of the nonsense, saying to handle a surge of illegal crossings, border officials stop legal ones. So as you look, Congressman, you're part of these conversations. where are we with cutting a bipartisan deal to secure the border? Because, by the way, it's a lot of money to Ukraine. I'm not sure I support that. But in the long run, if we can actually change policy at the border, I think we're going to save money. We're going to spend less money by all these folks coming into the country. Where are we? How far away are we from a deal?
That's far away, because we're not negotiating directly with the White House, which is frustrating to me. Like there's a couple of main things that we have to be negotiating on, and that's reforming the mass paroling that the Biden administration is doing, we think illegally. There's asylum reform, because look, if they're not being paroled, they'll take advantage of just claiming asylum and then getting stuck in the system for years. We don't want to let that to happen either. We have to raise the standards of what it takes to actually claim asylum. Those are the main things. Look, I mean, when you boil all this down, it has to be more likely than not that you will be expelled from the country if you enter illegally. If that disincentive exists, then people will not enter en masse. The border policies are really that simple, and there's a variety of ways to make that disincentive happen. But that's what has to happen, and that's what has to be clear to us in our negotiations with Ukraine and border. But that's the way to couple this, because both sides want something else more than the other side does. That's how negotiations happen. That's how you get historic border policy done. We've already passed HR 2. Didn't go anywhere. Why didn't it go anywhere? Because we had no leverage. Ukraine has become that leverage. For right or wrong, that's what it's become. So let's use it.
Congressman, to stay on the border, well, let me move on to this topic. Since you went to Harvard, we also wanted to get your take on this. The school standing by its president, Claudine Gay, with the Harvard Corporation, in essence, the board declaring, quote, President Gay is the right leader to help our community heal and to address the very serious societal issues we are facing. How do you see this statement and her position? It's that she's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that Harvard kept her, especially after what also happened right after that, which was uncovering her plagiarism of her doctoral thesis. And by the way, that wasn't just like some other reporter. I think the Harvard Crimson, Harvard's own newspaper, looked into it too and said this does appear to violate Harvard's own standards of plagiarism. So, okay, like, why are we keeping this person around? Like, what is the point of this? I think her real thoughts were what she said over and over again in the committee hearing. I don't think her real thoughts are what her staff drafted her on Twitter. So, you know, that's my opinion on it.
Congressman, thank you. Do you want to follow up?
No, listen, I think it's well said, Congressman. I think Harvard made the wrong decision, but maybe this has more to do with other factors than job performance. I'll leave it at that.
She is a shepherd with a staff for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's the root of the problem there and everywhere.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah. It's all over this issue. Yeah, of course. So here we are.
Congressman Dan Crenshaw, always a pleasure. Thanks for being with us.